Once hailed as Hollywood's biggest muscle icon and a multi-billion-dollar powerhouse, The Rock, once crowned the so-called Natty King, now finds himself at the center of a storm of controversies. After Joe Rogan publicly accused him of relying on steroids for 2 decades, waves of fans began abandoning him, while officials revived probes into questionable charity funds tied to the Maui disaster. With high-stakes deals worth hundreds of millions crumbling, online platforms are overflowing with ridicule and criticism.
There's not a chance in hell he's clean. No. Not a chance in hell. As big as The Rock is, at 50, he's so massive, and he's so different than he was when he was 30.
With more than 400 million fans, a fortune estimated at $800 million, and films grossing over $10 billion worldwide, it's hard to believe that someone with such dominance could fall so far. The Rock's downfall has become one of Hollywood's most painful spectacles, how the world's most recognizable muscle icon ended up branded a fraud. So how did a man once celebrated as a modern-day hero get unmasked in front of millions? Why did his stardom and massive following collapse into jeers and mockery? And when did he shift from being untouchable to becoming the industry's biggest embarrassment? Long before Hollywood embraced him, Dwayne Johnson ruled the wrestling ring, capturing audiences everywhere with his electrifying catchphrase, "Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?" His move from WWE to the silver screen looked effortless, and before long, he became one of the highest-paid actors alive. Blockbusters like Jumanji, topping $1 billion globally, the Fast and Furious franchise, raking in billions, and Disney's Moana, earning over $680 million, cemented his place at the top. Forbes repeatedly named him the highest-earning star, with annual paychecks reaching $120 million. But his influence stretched beyond film. He wasn't just an actor. He was a global media phenomenon. With a social media empire of over 400 million followers, his Instagram posts effortlessly racked up millions of likes. In wrestling, he secured his legacy with more than 10 WWE World Championships, while Time magazine regularly ranked him among the world's most influential people. Throughout his journey, The Rock was consistently portrayed as disciplined, respectful, and principled. He often spoke about his demanding workout routines, strict eating habits, and positive outlook on life. By sharing motivational posts online, he inspired millions to push past challenges and pursue their ambitions. This wasn't just clever branding, it became a fortress of trust. To many, he symbolized courage and resilience. Yet even the strongest image can fracture when the foundation is fragile. At the very heart of the persona The Rock built, the first cracks began to show. In September 2025, he attended the Venice Film Festival to promote The Smashing Machine. But instead of the new role being the headline, it was his appearance that stole attention. The trademark physique that defined his career seemed to fade in just a few months, leaving him noticeably slimmer. That sudden transformation triggered heated debate and a surge of steroid speculation. On one side stood The Rock himself, firmly asserting his natural lifestyle. On the other were prominent voices in the fitness world: Greg Doucette, Joe Rogan, American Thor, and Derek from More Plates, More Dates, leading a wave of skepticism. Research published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research showed a striking difference. Steroid users could gain as much as 13 pounds, about 6 kilograms, of muscle in 100 days, while natural athletes added closer to 5 pounds, around 2.2 kilograms. Beyond sheer numbers, the advantages included enhanced training efficiency, faster protein synthesis, and improved recovery, all areas where performance enhancers offer an edge. Armed with this data, critics argued that The Rock's physique over the last 20 years far exceeded what was naturally attainable, suggesting his claims of being natty were misleading.
He's natural.
Oh, he's absolutely not natty. They said he did a 12-week training program for WWE, and he had a full six-pack, leanest he's ever been. He's 53. I'm like, guys, he's on everything. Not only do I not think he's natural, I don't think he's on HRT. I think he's on the kitchen sinks.
Really?
I think he's on all of it and then some. You don't get big like that into your 50s compared to your 40s and 30s. Like, you see some photos of him in his 30s, he's way bigger and leaner now. Then you watch his little workout. This is The Rock. I'm going to go through my leg workout. And then he gets in there. He had 2 plates on each side of the leg press. This is the weight. I'm like, it's his first set. It's warm enough. No, he stuck with that weight the whole time. So he did this workout. He's like, look how hard his 30-pound walking lunges. 2 plates was every exercise. I'm like, is he a bikini competitor? And he's faking how hard it is. You know, like, oh, you know, he's grimacing.
Sounds like you don't like him because he's tall.
I love The Rock, which is the funny thing. I don't hate him for it, but it's like, come on. He's just...
Greg Doucette quickly emerged as the loudest voice in the coalition, openly mocking The Rock's transformation across social media. The Rock has shrunk to a pebble, he scoffed. He's fading. He's fading. Honestly, at 56, I feel like I've built more muscle than him.
Rock has become a pebble. He's eroded, he's withered away. What you don't know, because you didn't watch my previous video, is that The Rock was suffering from cardiovascular disease. How many of you think The Rock is natural? Do I have to keep reminding you? There's a 1 in a million chance.
Beneath the sarcasm, Doucette pressed a serious point. Once off steroids, Dwayne Johnson appeared to shed an astonishing 50 to 60 pounds, nearly 27 kilograms of muscle mass.
Remember Batista? He looked significantly smaller, and why do you think that is? He's no longer abusing performance-enhancing drugs. And so he followed in the footsteps of none other than the legend Batista, who did the exact same thing. If y'all think that The Rock was natural, that I'm just talking out of my ass, explain how he lost all his muscles in a matter of months.
He argued that neither age nor preparing for a film role could explain such a drastic and rapid loss of size. Doucette concluded that if The Rock were truly natural, there's no way he could have held on to such massive muscle at 50, let alone lost over 30 kilograms of it in just a few months.
You thought that previous physique was just up at 4:30, hardest worker in the room? Are you insane? The only way you lose that much muscle that quickly like that is if you go from abusing steroids to not.
For Doucette, the visible decline spoke louder than any confession ever could.
So my only wish on top of this would be if The Rock came out and explained exactly what he's doing. Hey guys, you see how I've lost all my muscles? The reason is because I had to stop abusing performance-enhancing drugs. I was playing the superhero actor card. I had to have a greater physique than last time. I wanted to be at my best shape ever in my 50s. Does that even make logical sense? I mean, bro isn't Mike O'Hearn. And so because of that, because of the right circumflex artery was being shut down, I had to decide to make a change. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be living longer than last time. As The Rock, please don't do what I'm doing.
Doucette wasn't alone in his criticism. Joe Rogan, never one to hold back, scoffed at The Rock's claim that he only experimented with steroids at 18. With blunt certainty, Rogan explained, you don't take them once as a teenager and keep piling on muscle until you're 50. He pointed to the obvious contrast. Johnson's present-day, almost superhuman build at middle age compared to his earlier WWE physique. Strong, healthy, but still within natural limits. That's impossible, Rogan concluded. Facing the mounting backlash, Dwayne Johnson offered his defense. He explained that the dramatic weight loss was intentional, a choice made to portray Mark Kerr, the troubled MMA fighter, notorious for his drug abuse. According to Johnson, the transformation wasn't about quitting steroids, but about shedding his trademark body to fully embody the role. I had to put aside my ego and my familiar physique to step into this character, he said in an interview. Doucette, however, dismissed this explanation with biting sarcasm. Did playing a fighter infamous for steroid use really require Johnson to lose 60 pounds of muscle? Was this commitment to acting or a carefully disguised truth?
So The Rock went on a juice cleanse, lost about 50 pounds of muscle. We're not talking about orange juice, we're talking about steroids. Now, the only reason we're talking about this is because in comparison to how he looked before, he's significantly...
To Doucette, Johnson's explanation sounded more like cover than honesty, a way to mask the reality that no 50-year-old could naturally sustain such a superhuman physique. If that's artistic sacrifice, he quipped, then it looks a lot like the biological crash that comes after ending a steroid cycle.
To lose 50 to 100 pounds of muscle in 1 year. It's hard to maintain muscle mass when you stop abusing steroids. Get it right.
Joe Rogan wasn't finished picking apart Johnson's defense. If The Rock is really clean, why hasn't he shared his blood work? He pressed. Why just talk about it? He again pointed to the glaring contrast, the nearly superhuman body Johnson carried into his 50s versus the more grounded, though still impressive, frame of his WWE prime. That just doesn't happen naturally, Rogan insisted, suggesting the role explanation was little more than a smokescreen. The debate only grew louder until American Thor entered the fray. He declared that Johnson's physique was undeniable proof of pharmaceutical help. What stung him most wasn't the possibility of drug use itself, but the illusion Johnson sold to millions of young fans. that such results could be achieved with nothing more than diet and discipline. That's not motivation, Thor argued. That's a massive deception. Then Derek from More Plates, More Dates weighed in with a clinical breakdown. He speculated that sustaining a body like Johnson's for decades would likely require hormones such as growth hormone, TRT-GH, or even heavy doses of nandrolone. And given the rapid decline seen at Venice, Derek suggested such a regimen must have recently been abandoned. This isn't just trimming down for a role, he concluded. This looks like a post-cycle crash, and it's probably tied to health issues. As the accusations piled up, The Rock finally spoke out. He pushed back, explaining, "The real reasons are age and the demands of work. At 50, it's harder to maintain that kind of size. I chose to lose muscle for my career and long-term health, not because of steroids. I've never used drugs to move forward in this industry." But his critics weren't ready to back down. Former UFC fighter Chael Sonnen offered perhaps the sharpest jab, comparing Johnson to another infamous figure. "Dwayne Johnson is just Hollywood's version of Liver King," he said. For Sonnen, the central issue wasn't necessarily drug use, it was the creation of a myth that millions bought into.
So what The Rock did, which is steroids, is something The Rock has denied. His father denied, his uncles denied, the whole family's denied. It's one of those things. It wouldn't be a very big deal. In all fairness, it wouldn't be that big of a deal if you weren't out there telling people about nutrition, telling people about your diet, telling people about your workouts. As soon as you start doing that and try to influence and motivate and bring people along the journey, but you lie to them about the journey, right? I mean, he's Liver King. You're Liver King all over again. It's the exact same thing.
Greg Doucette steered the debate toward ethics with a pointed question. If Johnson truly chose health, why not just admit it? Why keep misleading fans? American Thor echoed the sentiment, insisting that The Rock owed the public an explanation for letting them believe discipline and persistence alone could achieve his physique. The early backlash began to chip away at a trust that had been carefully built over decades. The Rock was no longer simply the beloved entertainer or wrestler. He was becoming a case study in contradiction and deception. For many who once saw him as the model of hard work, self-control, and integrity, the image was shattered, and the cracks didn't stop there. Once the steroid allegations surfaced, the public started revisiting Johnson's past for more signs of dishonesty. Attention quickly turned to the Maui Fund controversy, a blow that struck even harder at his reputation. The Maui wildfires of August 2023 devastated countless homes and lives. In response, Johnson and Oprah Winfrey launched the Maui People's Fund, pledging $10 million between them, $5 million each, and promising $1,200 monthly payments to survivors. At first, the gesture seemed noble, but as the initial applause faded, outrage followed. People realized that a near billionaire was asking struggling families to chip in. Social media erupted with anger. "A billionaire asking the poor for donations?" One user fumed. "That's shameless." Another scoffed, "The Rock could buy Maui, but he wants us to fund relief." At a time when inflation and financial strain were crushing millions, the move felt like a cruel injustice. Yet the money itself wasn't the only issue. The lack of transparency cut deeper. Instead of clearly showing where the funds went or addressing why he and Oprah hadn't contributed more, Johnson appeared to deflect blame onto the public. What began as a promise of generosity became, for many, a symbol of greed and betrayal. His silence felt evasive, like a stone dodging every piece of evidence, an echo of the steroid controversy. Some even compared him to Sam Pepper, who notoriously exploited public trust. While Johnson wasn't accused of fraud, the similarity in how he handled the backlash left lasting damage to his reputation. The Maui Fund debacle also widened the conversation beyond The Rock himself. It raised pressing questions about celebrity philanthropy. When the ultra-wealthy ask struggling fans for donations, is that genuine generosity or simply shifting responsibility? When fundraising becomes a PR campaign, does it still count as goodwill? Or is it just another polished marketing tool? Together, the steroid and Maui scandals revealed the same core issue, the gap between image and reality. The steroid debate called into question his integrity and physical authenticity, while the Maui controversy exposed the uneasy relationship between celebrity wealth and the hardships of ordinary people. And so, what lingers after the spotlight fades isn't just disappointment in one man, it's cynicism toward the entire hero narrative Hollywood sells. The story of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson illustrates a simple but often ignored truth. Trust is the one thing you can't fake. Muscles shrink, fortunes shift, but once trust is broken, it's nearly impossible to repair. That lesson stretches far beyond fame. It's a reminder to anyone seeking respect or credibility that the truth eventually surfaces. The media can polish an image, steroids can sculpt a body, and glossy campaigns can make charity look noble. But time and scrutiny always strip away the facade. The public never demanded perfection from their heroes, only honesty. Had Johnson been transparent about the Maui Fund's operations, or admitted to using medical assistance, he might have earned admiration instead of condemnation. In an age of constant skepticism, openness is the only path to lasting respect. And ultimately, the message is clear. Celebrities don't just have obligations under the spotlight. Their duty to honesty continues long after the cameras stop rolling. With fame comes responsibility, and those elevated by the public are expected to manage that privilege fairly. A painful paradox emerges when the wealthy ask the struggling for donations. The weight of generosity shifts from those who have more to those who have less. This raises a deeper question. Is goodwill still about genuine sharing, or has it become another tool of strategic public relations? For fans, the warning is clear. Don't mistake polished images for truth. The Rock may inspire people to train harder or embrace his hustle-driven mindset, but success should never be measured against a carefully manufactured persona. Idols, after all, are human, capable of ambition and achievement, but also of mistakes, motives, and even deception. Until that is openly acknowledged, the public will struggle to reconcile the fall of the image with the value of the man. Throughout his career, Dwayne Johnson worked to embody the role of a strong, disciplined, and morally upright hero. Yet that carefully built figure began to unravel with the steroid allegations and the Maui Fund controversy. More than just another celebrity scandal, his story highlights a sobering truth. There is always a gap between the public face and the private self. Supporters will forgive vulnerability, but dishonesty is harder to absolve. Whether the trust once placed in The Rock can ever be fully rebuilt, or whether it has been permanently broken, remains uncertain.